concert every year. I'm running hard after the Lord. Right? I mean, no, they only last like 35 days. That's why when folks tell me, you know, Apostle, God been dealing with me, I'm ready to move forward. Time will make a decision for you. What you don't decide, time will make a decision for you. So I see you in January, or I see you in July. You know, that's my thinking when somebody tells me, I say, well, we'll see in about 60 days. Right? So, God, if we're going to seek God, one of the characteristics of seeking God is worship. Worship is the attitude of the heart. It's not a worship of one's hands or one's ability to create or fabricate a relationship with God. For the Father is seeking us, or seeking after a heart that is sought out, or seeking Him in true worship. He's looking for a heart that is after Him. False worship is a heart of worship. False worship is worship without the heart. Jesus told him in Matthew 15. Let's go there real quick. Matthew 15:8. We're going to get some scriptures, and I'm going to make some thoughts. Say some things. I'm trying to get this done, y'all. I'm only on page 16. Dang it. This people draw near to me with their mouth and honor me with their what? Lips. But their what? Heart is far from me. Talking to the religious leaders. They had all the T's crossed, the I's dotted. They knew He was coming. They didn't know what city He was coming in. Well, they knew He was coming from the city, but they didn't know the way He was going to arrive. Because they were looking for a religious leader. They were looking for a captain, a commandeer. Amen. So they were looking for somebody, a political leader. That's the word I'm looking for. That's what they were looking for. It says, but their heart is far from me. Next verse. But in vain they do worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Incorrect teaching can cause you to worship in vain. Because most of us, if we're not careful, we'll make amends, or we'll pat ourselves on our back and saying, because we study, that's worship. You can study the Bible. You can dissect the Bible. You can have Greek, Hebrew. You can spend enormous amount of time in scriptures and yet not fully experience worship the way He wants it, in sincerity and in truth, or in spirit or in truth, or right form and right fashion. So it has to exist from the heart. Thank God we have, see, and one thing about, I'm going to mess that up. Let me just give you this. Notice the phrase, in spirit and truth. We must come to know the truth about the Spirit and how He works in us. That's what it means. To do it in spirit and truth means that we must know the truth about the Spirit and how He wants to work in our life. There is a true worship that comes from the truth of the Spirit, which is not lip service, but it is a nature from which all true worship comes. It is the nature of truth to cause the Spirit to worship the Father, and without the truth of Spirit. Wow. It is the nature of truth to cause the Spirit to worship the Father, and without the truth of Spirit. The soul will bring that worship to a soulical level, which will not rise to the level of true worship. So you can worship God, or you can think you are worshiping God in the commandments of men, and cause you to solically get involved. So crying and snotting and spinning and twirling and castrating on the floor, goosebumps, none of that is a legitimate form of worship. It has to be activated from your spirit. It has to be a response that is resonating in your heart. And it increases the level of your passion towards the object of your affection. Right? So that means when He begins to sensitize your spirit, man, all of a sudden you long to be in an intimate place. Huh? Then you start prioritizing stuff and rearranging stuff. Come on now. Anybody ever been? Okay, never mind. Anybody ever been there? Okay. Anybody ever been in that place where you just say, you know what? This is my normal course of the day. But I'm sensing something deep within the bowels of my belly. That the Father is invoking upon me an opportunity to know Him better.
Yes, yes.
It's people that live without what I just said. Good people. But haven't been pricked or provoked or enticed in their spirit, where God just all of a sudden interrupts your life. True worship is not an act that we do at a prescribed moment of a church service. I stop until you get the camera right, because I don't want to miss this. No, I'm just kidding. But the true worship is a result of truth revealing Himself. Right? Yeah. I'm going to say it again. True worship is not an act that we do at a prescribed moment of a church service. So, true worship is not even relegated or defined by if you have a praise team, or if the message or if the song is high, or if everybody's on beat. But true worship, or how big the team is, that's a good one. But true worship is the result. In fact, for me, as a micromanager, the less is better. I'm just saying. But true worship is the result of truth revealing Himself, which initiates a true expression of the nature of Christ's life. So if I say I'm in worship or I'm a worshiper, it should initiate an expression of the nature of Christ that's in my life. Then there are certain characteristics that, as it relates to Christ, is now somehow matriculated into my reality. So my reality, y'all all right? In this respect, our life becomes a true worship in the midst of this world, and it reveals our true nature is ultimately from Christ, or of Christ. His love is acted out in our lives in a true worship of the nature of God. See, this is like, what? But I'm trying to help you out. We're going to work it out. We're going to tweak it. Because the litmus test is love. You can't say, well, I love God, and don't worship. In fact, the amplification of what I just said is in John 14:23. We need a manifestation of God. Am I right? John 14:23, what does it say, y'all? Come on, put it up there. Jesus had said unto them, if any man love me, he can ready to tell you if you love him or not. Right. It ain't got nothing to do about, I can't teach this stuff. This is what he said, is in red. If any man love me, he will keep my words, and my Father will love him, and we will come unto him and make our abode with him. That word is the mansion. That's the mansion everybody's looking without. Everybody thinks it's going to be a mansion across the sky. Over yonder. What does that song say? It's a song. I'm trying to get it up. I'm mess it up. But what is it? Say it again. Can y'all give me some? Give me some lyrics.
Where I'm going up yonder.
See? Make you feel good. People start clapping on that. Hey! Some of us, like myself, get off beat, but nonetheless, we're clapping, we're participating. But the mansion, his abode, is in us. That's why he said it, and the first time he mentioned it was, in my Father's house, there are many mansions. Same word. But the true litmus test is my love level. Not my knowledge level. Not my snot crying level. Not even my forgiveness level. My love level. If you don't know what that is, go to 1 Corinthians 13. It'll tell you. If you want to know all the dynamics of what love is, go there and study it. It'll show you. Then you'll know. Because faith works by love. Y'all follow me? So his love is acted out in our lives in a true worship of the nature of God. And we become the instrument of God's love to humanity and those that are in our sphere and those that are in our circle. His peace, salvation, joy, mercy, and everything is incorporated in our life when we become instruments of authentic, true, vibrant worship. Without rehearsal, without reservation, without restrictions, unabridged, undaunted. That's what he wants. Wants it incorporated into our lives so they can transform us. So that as we begin to participate in worship, his divine attributes have an opportunity to fashion and form us. So love is no longer something we have to do. It is simply what we are. See, when you get seized with that passion, that love, because I'm talking about worship, I'm talking about love, I'm talking about worship, that is how far we have yet to go in our transformation. But all things are possible in God. So as I'm being transformed in worship, because I'm intimate, because intimacy is the sign of love. You know that if you're in a relationship. Amen. You can't just tell somebody 5 years later that I love you and then, you know what I'm saying? Something's going to miss. Thrill is gone. You have to do some things. There have to be gestures of love. Right? It's not in word and tongue. It's in deed and truth. So it's demonstrative. That's why God so loved the world that he gave. Right? So there has to be some component in our life that if we say we love him and we want to be true worshipers, then there has to be a love level. So we have to be tweaked a little bit. And the way you can measure yourself in a linear way, I mean time and space, is reverse it, go into your mind and say, what have I removed myself from?